Hello and welcome to Dubai Life. In this video, I'll break down the benefits of having a United Arab Emirates residence visa, how you get it, requirements to get it, qualifications, who qualifies to have the United Arab Emirates residence visa, and the costs involved. But before I start with the topic for today, I want to thank you for supporting this channel. For subscribing, for sharing the videos, putting the comments that you have, and also for giving the videos a thumbs up. Please keep doing that. And if you need any more clarification or you have a different question, please drop that question in the comments box. Let's start by defining a residence visa. A residence visa in any country is permission for foreigners to live and work in that country. For any country, if you have a residence visa, that means you have permission to live and work. It could be a printed sticker in your passport, or in this case, it could be electronic residence visa that's going to be in the United Arab Emirates starting the 11th of April. If you have a residence visa for the United Arab Emirates, that means you can live or work in any other emirate, in Dubai, in Ajman, in Ras Al Khaimah, in Abu Dhabi, in Fujairah, Al Quwain, whatever emirate, unless your labor card limits you to a certain free zone. But you can live in any of the emirates freely. It should be noted that a residence visa is for a limited period of time. A residence visa is not a citizenship. You are limited to maybe 2, 3, 5, or 10 years residence. After that, you have to either renew or leave the country. If you don't, then you're living illegally in the country. Now that we know what a residence visa is, let's talk about the benefits of having a Dubai or a UAE residence visa. The number one benefit is, with a residence visa, you can open up a bank account in the United Arab Emirates. If you don't have a residence for the United Arab Emirates, you cannot open up a bank account. There are other restrictions like how much you earn for certain banks, but the first thing you need is a residence visa. Another benefit is, once you have a residence visa, then you have access to banking facilities like credit cards, like loans, like mortgages on a house. So these are only possible if you have a residence visa. Without it, you can't access such services. Having a residence visa gives you an opportunity to get a driver's license in the United Arab Emirates. If you do not have a residence visa, you cannot apply for driving lessons, and you cannot apply for a driving license in the United Arab Emirates or in Dubai, in Ajman, in whatever emirate. In some cases, you're even supposed to prove that your sponsor is allowing you to start on the driving process. That means you have to show an NOC, a No Objection Certificate, or a No Objection Letter from your sponsor before you can start the process of getting a driver's license in the United Arab Emirates. To access some of the government health facilities like insurance, health insurance, like even healthcare, you need to have a residence visa. Otherwise, without it, you may not be able to even get insurance. You cannot get some treatment, like some operations, you may not be able to get them unless you have a special document showing that you came in the country for treatment. Another benefit of having a residence visa in Dubai or the United Arab Emirates is that you can sponsor your spouse or your children. Without a resident visa yourself, how would you be able to sponsor others? So first, you have to get your own residence visa, and then you can sponsor your child or your spouse. You will need a residence visa to access education facilities for both private and government. As we shall see in this video later on, you can apply for a school admission, then you get a visa for admission into a school, but that's something else we shall see later on. With a residence visa for the United Arab Emirates, there are countries you can travel to free without applying or paying for a visa. So there's a list of those countries, and that will be a video for another day. Countries you can travel to free if you have a residence visa for the United Arab Emirates. So that's more reason for you to subscribe to this channel, so that when such information comes out, you will be the first to know, especially if you click the notification bell. Another benefit that we may take for granted is you can enjoy the good things, the facilities, the infrastructure, the safety, and everything, the healthcare that the United Arab Emirates has to offer. That can be neglected, can be ignored, but that's something you can enjoy freely if you have a residence visa to the United Arab Emirates. With a residence visa, you can rent property in the United Arab Emirates. Without it, there's no way you will be able to sign or to get a tenancy contract if you don't have a valid residence visa. Another benefit of having a residence visa, you do not have to pay any taxes on your income. You don't have to pay local government tax, you don't have to pay VAT or any other taxes on your income. There is VAT on purchasing or buying things, but on your income there's no VAT, there's no tax at all. Maybe that will come in the future, but at the moment you can get your income without any deduction. If it's the salary, you'll get it as it is. The last benefit we're going to look at is the freedom to work or to invest in the United Arab Emirates if you have the residence visa. You can work as part-time or full-time or partnership, whatever you are comfortable with if you have a residence visa. And you can also invest. You can invest in property, you can invest in the stock market, you can invest in anything you want if you have the residence visa in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, in general, in the United Arab Emirates. Now that I've given you enough reasons why you should get a resident visa in the United Arab Emirates, now let me give you the conditions under which foreigners can get a residence visa in the United Arab Emirates. Number one, and this is maybe the majority of residents in the United Arab Emirates, is under employment. If you're employed by any company in the United Arab Emirates, the company will be the sponsor for your visa for that period of time you're working for the company. Once you leave the company, then you need to get another sponsor, either another company or self-sponsorship. Number two, the government sector. If the government employs you, then the government will sponsor your residence for the time you're working for the government. There are many people employed by the government of the United Arab Emirates at all the federal governments, maybe Abu Dhabi, Ajman, Sharjah, whatever. But for as long as you're working for the government, you will have a visa, a resident visa sponsored by the government. Another category to qualify to have a resident visa in the United Arab Emirates is as an investor. If you're an investor in any business or any service, any product in the United Arab Emirates, then your company will be your sponsor, meaning that you are your own sponsor as the owner of the company. So as long as you have that company, your visa will be running, and when you stop or close that company, then you need to find another sponsor for your residence visa. Another category or another qualification is school sponsorship. However, for school sponsorship, you should be at university level. Below university level, you need to have your parents sponsoring you, then you can get into the school. But from the university level, you are mature enough, you're above 18, then you can get sponsorship from the school. The school can sponsor your residence in the United Arab Emirates. In this case, at the university level, you do not necessarily need a parent here. Another qualification is if you purchase property in the United Arab Emirates. At the moment, if you purchase any property over 750,000, then you can get a 3 years renewable resident visa. And if you purchase a property of more than 2 million, then you can get a 5 years renewable resident visa. For those who have invested a lot of money in the United Arab Emirates property, get even up to 10 years golden visa. Another way you can qualify to get a resident visa is if you are a dependent on someone with a resident visa. Now, a dependent can be a wife, a child, a maid, a parent. All these can be sponsored by the person holding a resident visa. So if you have your parent, you want them to live with them, you can sponsor them for a resident visa. If you have your children, your wife, that can happen. And if you need a maid, then you can also sponsor your maid. Another category or qualification is retirement resident visa. Now, this is newly introduced in the United Arab Emirates, I think in 2019 or 2020, where people who want to retire, they have got a lot of money or enough money to live on for several years, maybe 20 years, can apply for a retirement visa. They buy property and they live comfortably in the United Arab Emirates for their retirement. If you are over a certain age and you have retired, you have enough money to live on, then you can apply for a retirement visa. That will help you to get a visa to stay in the United Arab Emirates for your retirement. In this case, you may even buy a property that is not worth 750, but if you have enough money to live on or investments to live on, then you can apply prove that you are capable to take care of yourself for the next 20 years or 40, then you'll get that retirement resident visa in the United Arab Emirates. Something very important to note: the residence visa is only issued to foreigners if they are in the country. So no one should deceive you that they're going to get for you a resident visa if you're out of the country. You'll have to get an entry visa into the United Arab Emirates, then the process of application for a resident visa starts once you are in the country. I feel like I have already given a lot of information. I don't like making videos that are too long, they become boring. So for that reason, let's stop here for part 1 and we shall continue with part 2 of the Dubai or the UAE residence visa. In the next part, we shall look at the conditions for the residence visa, validity of the residence visa, and requirements to process the residence visa. Thank you so much for watching and stay tuned for part 2 of this same video. Thank you.